Hi, I'm Becca and I'm addicted to media. Today I'm going to talk about the Ace Attorney anime series. The Ace Attorney series was originally a video game series that came out on the DS systems by Nintendo, and I absolutely love them. Just probably a little bit too much, actually. And if you watch some of my other videos, you may have noticed that I love them because I talk about them quite a bit. The series has now started to branch out into other forms of media, including manga and anime. In fact, I kind of have a problem about it. I've been trying very hard not to get too wrapped up in just the series, not to only read Ace Attorney related things and only watch Ace Attorney related things and only play Ace Attorney related things, and it's incredibly hard. It's even harder to explain to other people why I love this series so much because, to be honest, they're not groundbreaking and they're not amazing in any other way except that they're just so much fun. It's just filled with so many wonderful characters and so many wonderful jokes, and I just love it so much. But there is a huge difference between the original Japanese version and the American version, and those differences really affect the way that people experience the series. Now, I know that it's hugely popular in Japan, so the Japanese version is just as fun and successful over there, but the jokes over here tend to be even more funny, I think, because it makes fun of itself. If you haven't watched any of my other videos where I talk about this series, it was originally created in Japan, and so everything was very Japanese. It was definitely supposed to be based in Japan. It shows. The buildings look like Japan, the food items and clothing items are very Japanese. It's so obviously Japan. When they decided to port it over to the US to make a localized edition, they decided that it would also be in Los Angeles, which is so ridiculous because Los Angeles and Japan look insanely different, and neither are any of the cultural references that happen. It just doesn't translate that well, and so because of that, it actually added to the experience of the game because people thought it was so hilarious that it became this kind of joke on itself, and the writers later referenced these things in the series. And that is a part of the English fan base, is knowing that it is so insanely ridiculous that any of these things are supposed to take place in LA. And that is a part of why everybody loves it so much. I mention all of this because I did just watch the first episode of the Ace Attorney animated series. And one thing you need to know about anime, if you don't watch any anime, is that first it rolls out a subbed version, which is subtitles. And so they are speaking in Japanese with American subtitles, and that's how you watch the show. And then if you're really, really lucky, later on it will be dubbed. Usually the dubbed version tends to rewrite some of the jokes a little bit more clear for American audiences instead of a more direct translation, which can be kind of confusing sometimes and not really make that much sense. If you don't watch a lot of anime, it can definitely get really confusing really fast. And one of the biggest differences between what I expected from the first episode of the Ace Attorney anime series and what I actually got was that they didn't make the jokes feel localized like the game did. It kind of fell flat for me. Now, when I was watching it originally, I was crying because I was so excited and so happy to get something else Ace Attorney related. I watched with a few of my friends and my boyfriend. They turned to me and they asked me, did you like it? And at the time, I said yes, because I did have so much fun watching it. But after reflecting on my experience of watching it, I have realized that I didn't love it. and I'm not even sure I liked it. One of the best things about the game series is that you have their American names, which are all puns. Phoenix Wright, W-R-I-G-H-T, but it reads as Phoenix Wright, like I am right, I am correct. And then you have characters that show up in the first episode, and as I was watching this with two people that have not played the games and do not understand the nuances of all of the jokes in the names, I felt like I had to keep explaining, no, it's really good, it's really funny, because this character's name is Larry Butts. And it's freaking amazing because he's kind of like an idiot and gets into lots of trouble. They say, if it stinks or if it smells, it's probably the butts. Like, you can't get that across if his name isn't Larry Butts anymore because it's the Japanese name. I wish that they had at least translated that for the subbed version. I'm really, really afraid that we won't get a dubbed version because the jokes didn't get translated, basically, because a huge part of the reason why it's so funny is because of the names. If you're showing something that is related to something you really, really love to somebody for the first time, you don't really want to introduce them to it through a way that isn't as good as the way that you experienced it and the reason that you love it for the first time. And that's how I felt. I felt like this isn't as good, and now I'm sad because I feel like maybe my friends won't play the game series, even though they totally should, because it's amazing. You should play it, okay? You should play it. But I do have another thing that kind of bothered me about the first episode. Dodger from Press Heart to Continue, in her spring anime first impressions video, which I will leave a link to here and in the description down below, really dialed it down for me why I felt like the anime was so off. Besides, you know, my take with the localized edition. It doesn't really work the same way that the video game series works, even though it's structured the same. In fact, it's because it's structured the same that it doesn't work as well. In the first game, which is what the series is so far following, Phoenix Wright is a defense attorney, and he's brand new. He hasn't worked a case yet. So in the series, you actually play as him while he's learning to basically be successful in his career. He stumbles through the first case that you're working on, and it kind of introduces you to the game and how the different mechanics work. There's another character named Mia Fey who is your mentor in the game, and she's there to hold your hand. She prompts you to do certain things like question the witness's testimony and push on things until they break and give you more information. But those are things that if you are already a defense attorney, you should know how to do that. It's weird that they put it into the anime where she is there on the sidelines and saying, hey, Phoenix, why don't you ask the witness what he saw? And it's just weird. It feels off. I know that they can do it differently and they can do it better. In the Miles Edgeworth Investigations series, it is not constructed in that way. It doesn't feel like you're playing the games. It just feels like you're getting more time with the characters. I think they say it's actually based in Japan. So I do know that I still like the content and I still like the characters, even if it is based in Japan. It's just the structure and the fact that it wasn't localized and the character names weren't localized, all kind of congealed into this big disappointment for me. If that changes as the series goes on, then I'll probably become more happy about that. I think I'm going to keep reviewing each episode as it comes out and letting you know if it gets better. I don't know if the other ones will be quite as long because I did have to describe a few extra things that were going on in this video for you guys to kind of introduce what the series is about. If and when the dub comes out, I will do another review series on the dubbed version. Here's hoping, fingers crossed, that it gets better. I would also like to know whether you watched the Ace Attorney anime series and what you thought about it. Did you play the game series first? Will you play the game series now? If you want to see more videos like this or some of my booktube videos, stick around to the end of the video and click on some of my links. Also, if you liked this video, please comment down below, subscribe, or give me a thumbs up to let me know. And I hope you're having a really great day. Okay, bye! Who knows when I'll finish that? I mean, Fanime is at the end of May. Need it done before then, but you know, like, I don't know. Started in September. Who freaking knows when that's gonna get done? All I have to do is like sew some buttons on. I procrastinate a lot, so who knows whenever that's gonna get done. For the record, I am still playing Dual Destinies. I'm really surprised at how long it's taking me to get through Dual Destinies. That's how much the procrastination train has hit me. I've got the Ace Attorney Miles Edgeworth Investigations series manga here, and I have my bookmarks that I got at Fanime. That's some fan art right there. It's beautiful.